Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom, that's Jeff. And Jeff, we're covering one of the best matches in the history of Breaking Point.
Yeah, you know, when you think of top-tier pay-per-views that have vanished, Breaking Point's up there. Like, I know both you and
Breaking Point back.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't understand why they didn't. Yeah, this is one that, highly talked about all the time, as we all know. So, yeah.
This was the new Unforgiven. They had done that Unforgiven concept a number of times, and then they ended up. Well, you were going to cover it, but I have it right here. So so they let the fans choose. It was chosen over Submission Sunday, Total Submission, and Submission and Quit.
Yep. Sure.
And then the intent was that every match would be a submission match. But that's not what happened. But we ended up getting a submission match, an I Quit match, a Singapore Cane match, a submissions count anywhere match, and then a couple straight matches. So interesting. But yeah, we're covering Breaking Point, man. This is going to be interesting. Any reason you chose this match? Did it pop up on some lists, or why'd you?
So yeah, it was super high rated on this one. You're going to see this one got a lot of stars. And it was just kind of like, it was, as we'll see, a little bit of a build from some other stuff, but it's really just a solid John Cena, Randy Orton match. Like, we know Cena just recently, or, a couple months ago, popped back up over in London the UK to promote, maybe having WrestleMania there. It was very, I almost feel like, and I have not looked at any of the match really, other than kind of reading the reviews and getting my notes ready, but I try to avoid the kind of play-by-play on it. I think that could be like a hidden gem of a match. I think, when Cena was wrestling well, even now it feels like forever ago, but, we're looking at almost 15 years ago with Randy Orton on this one. And so, I think we just got a good match. And of course, like you said, like, who does, and like, if we ever get an opportunity to talk about Breaking Point matches, I'm going to put them on the list. Like, let's be real. So, that's what we've got. So, and overall, like you said, it wasn't a terrible card. Like, there was actually some decent stuff on here.
Yeah, we'll jump into it. But yeah, this will be a fun one, and I think it's going to be a real car crash of a match. So yeah, certainly looking forward to it. And with these two guys, there's no shortage of stuff to talk about. So this should be a fun one. Let's get right into the build.
Oh,
so as we said,
it's time for the build.
We're in front of this great Montreal crowd, and it's amazing that, like, we know Montreal's a great wrestling town. We know that it was insane for the screw job pay-per-view, but like, they didn't go back there for a while. And obviously this past year, and granted they caught lightning in a bottle of Sammy, but man, what a crowd. So you could throw them. I mean, I just think there's probably certain cities that just need to be in the rotation. You know, I mean, and maybe you look at it like as a 2-year rotation where, Montreal probably should have a PLE every 2 years. New York City should have one. I think Puerto Rico may have earned one every couple years. And, London was great. And, then you rotate some of the big cities throughout the country. And
it proves these international cities deserve it. Like, because the American crowds, we don't have it right now, and
dude,
so
it's just a whole different level. And it's not. I mean, the thing that's. I mean, the volume of the and then the hometown favorites and the crowd, the reaction they get. But one of the things, like Money in the Bank, I mean, dude, they were singing every word to songs that I certainly don't know every word to. Like some of the ones that I was like, wow, that's pretty hardcore, man. So, anyways, we're in Montreal. We've got the superstars of Raw, SmackDown, and ECW on this one. 12,000 in the audience, a buy rate of 169,000, which was down from the previous year's Unforgiven of 211. So the intent is, hey, let's mix up the brand, let the fans choose, do something that's a little gimmicky, but people didn't want it. And I've never been a big fan of the submission match concept either. I mean, there's been some great ones here and there, but for the most part, really doesn't do anything for me. So let's get to the card here. Dark match of Evan Bourne defeating Chavo Guerrero in 5 minutes. We start off with Jericho defeating the world's strongest tag team of MVP and Mark Henry. Didn't know they were a tag team with that name. So Jericho and Big Show are going to retain the tag titles in 12 minutes. Didn't hate them together, something different. Kofi's going to retain his U.S. title in 12 minutes against The Miz. Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase are going to defeat DX, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels in a submissions count anywhere match, 21 minutes. That's a fun match. That actually could be something we want to go back and look at. Mm-hmm. Kane's going to defeat the Great Khali in 5 minutes and 50 seconds in a Singapore Kane match. Christian is going to defeat William Regal to retain his ECW title in 10 minutes. The match we're going to cover is your semi-main event. And then in the main event, I thought this was interesting, in only 8 minutes and 52 seconds, CM Punk is going to retain his World Heavyweight Championship against The Undertaker. So you said it, man. Pretty stacked card. I mean, let's just think about this here. Cena, Orton, Punk, Taker, Christian, Kane, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Cody Rhodes, Kofi Kingston, Miz,
Jericho,
Big Show.
Everybody.
Woo!
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, okay, so here, humor me for a second. On this card, who is not going to eventually be a Hall of Famer? Jericho and Big Show are Hall of Famers. MVP, I don't know, but maybe.
He's got a good run right now. Like, with the hurt. Yeah.
Mark Henry, Hall of Famer. Kofi, Hall of Famer. Miz, Hall of Famer. DiBiase Jr. will not be, but Cody will be. Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Kane. Khali might be. I mean, kind of big star in India. Christian, yes. Regal, yes. Cena, yes. Orton, yes. Punk, yes. Taker, yes. And by the way, Punk will get in the Hall of Fame at some time, and he'll headline and he'll give a great speech, and he may even wrestle a match in WWE at some point. That's what I think. I think him and Triple H will do business together at some point.
One day.
So there you go. That's the show. Fun card. Storyline standpoint, Cena, Orton, how do we get there for the championship?
Yeah, overall. So this was interesting. So Breaking Point taking place. This is September 13th, 2009. We're going to go back though, August, just barely even a month, August 23rd, SummerSlam. You had Randy Orton beating who at the time defended the championship against John Cena. Orton was the champ. He actually intentionally got himself disqualified and was counted out of the ring. Now, and he kind of rolled out and then walked up the ring. It was one of those, he was typed dumb. But while that would have allowed him to retain the title, it was restarted, and then eventually Orton pinned Cena. I say it was unusual because it restarted, and then Orton I did go back and watch it. He did like kind of a weird RKO, like through the ropes, as like Cena was like leaning out, and then it's bounced Cena back, and then Orton got in right away, hit him with actually a really bad RKO to pin him right away after they restarted the match. And so you actually, because of all of that and like him trying to be DQ'd, Vince actually gave Cena a rematch. And so because of the kind of, at the time, like you said, the spirit of the show, whatever you want to call it, they decided that this was going to be an I quit match. As we all know, they got to make him say I quit. And so that's also he added a second stipulation on this one that if anybody interfered in the match on Randy Orton's behalf, and this was because Brett DiBiase had gotten involved in this previous match, that Orton would lose as well. And so this was DiBiase, actually, it was at that SummerSlam pay-per-view. He was actually a plant in the audience who interfered in the match. And so that's why Vince decided to add that stipulation. And so it's really just kind of a continuation of their previous match and getting into that. And so that's where we get into this one. So yeah, that's about it. Like tight and just kind of going at it.
I'm pumped. I'm looking forward to this one, man.
We are a good one. Yeah.
We're at the 2 hour and 1 minute mark of what's just called WWE Breaking Point on Peacock.
Yeah, you got to search a little bit hard on Peacock for this one. Yeah,
you do, and there's like a Breaking Point movie, and there's some other stuff that pops up. So yeah,
yep. Okay,
cool. All right, man. I'm pumped to cover this one. 2 hour, 1 minute mark. Jeff, are you ready?
I got it pulled up. Let's do this.
All right, it's time for the payoff.
Oh, it's time for the payoff.
And from St. Louis, Missouri, weighing in at 245 pounds, he is the WWE Champion.
Gives it that big match feel, doing the announcing, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
well, we know who the heel is and who the baby face is here. Orton is your champion. Dude, Orton looks really, really young.
He looks young and he looks good. Like, yeah, absolutely. Just jacked as can be, yeah.
Yeah. So Orton's got the spinner belt. Cena's got some of the longest. Yeah. Cena's got some of the longest jean shorts on I've certainly ever seen him or any other human being in. Like I actually you can't even see his knee pads.
It's halfway down his calf. Yeah.
I actually don't know how he's going to work in these things. They're like capri pants. They're not even. I mean, he wears them like way shorter now. You can't even see his knee pads. Like, I want to see him actually move around in these things.
I find it interesting because who was it? Dean Ambrose.
He looks incredibly stupid in these things.
Yeah. Dean Ambrose said he hated wrestling in jeans because you can't move. And so I would assume that jean shorts have to be even worse. Yeah. We getting Cena chance at this point? I'm not, can you give us a sound here? Oh, I hear some Cena sucks in there.
Let's go Cena sucks. Right? We still had it back then.
Even if Cena had pulled his pants up a little bit, it'd still be too long.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're like 6 inches too long.
The dude is about to go 20 minutes with his pants around his ankles, practically. So there you go. Okay, start right out of the gate. Yeah.
So I have to ask: should they have made Cena a heel at some point?
I think that there was. Yes, but I don't think they ever could find the right time to do it or the right story to do it. I think that where it could have a sustainable run. I think kind of like with Roman, when they forced it on us, it didn't work. And now we're getting some of the best storyline stuff from Roman Reigns ever. And so I don't know when the time would have been to pull the trigger and who he could have worked with to really make that happen. It would have been really interesting to see. I think that I think he is one of the few. It's almost like one of those, like the what if of it. Like, would it have worked? Like, could he have done, like, we know a lot of people go back and forth with the different characters and they can play comedic roles or they could play the heel, or you've got someone that can just be like totally multidimensional. Who knows? Like, we'll never for sure know if Cena could actually pull that off, which I think is interesting. Like, I think he could, but who knows? Like, maybe it would have just totally sucked too. I don't know. How about you?
In the Cena in the Cena heel debate, I point all my evidence and energy towards Roman Reigns. So I believe that what you are seeing with Roman Reigns is exactly what would have happened if John Cena turned heel. Mm-hmm. Would it have been the same storyline? Of course not. But would it have been massive? Would he have? Here's the interesting thing, right? Oh, but Cena sells so much merchandise. How much merchandise do you think Roman Reigns is selling right now? Probably a shit ton. Now, is Cody Rhodes selling more as a babyface? I would assume yes. But it's not like, oh, we turn Cena heel and we never sell another t-shirt again. No, we may sell one that's black and white and has something that looks a lot different than hustle, loyalty, and respect. Are you still going to sell a shit ton of those? I believe so. So you don't turn the merchandise thing off. Now, the Make-A-Wish thing, you may have to pause it for a year or two. Or you do wishes as a heel and you're not in character when you do those. And there's ways to work around that stuff. But I always thought the Make-A-Wish thing, the t-shirt sale thing, I just always thought both of those were ridiculous. And I always thought you still could sell it. Now, look at WWE during this era. This was not a good era. I mean, look, made a shit ton of money, great TV deals. Like, it's not like, we're not looking at an empty building here. But I mean, was this the Attitude Era? No. Is this the era that we're living in now? No. This was kind of there was a lot of forgettable stuff that occurred during this era. Okay. So to me, in this era, in 2009, 2010, whenever you make Cena a heel, I think it has a tremendous positive effect on business. And I think you want Super Cena, make it. I mean, Jeff, think about this. Like, to me, this is, and it's not all 2020 hindsight because I was saying it even at the time. But okay, so what would have happened if you turned Cena heel? Well, he would have been Super Cena, just like we have Super Reigns. So John Cena in this era have been a heel champion for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years. Absolutely. Could he have drawn more money than he did as a babyface? Absolutely. Like, it would have been better, I believe, better for the company to give him a heel run. He still could have done Make-A-Wish. He still could have sold merchandise. It would have been a different gimmick. And if maybe you give him a manager, you give him a Heyman type. So I think they missed an incredible opportunity to make a hell of a lot more money, create some really compelling TV, and then guess what happens at the end? He becomes a babyface, and then he's a huge. I mean, Roman Reigns is going to be the biggest babyface in the business at some point. I don't know when, but it'll happen unless he goes off to Hollywood. But I think he's going to have a huge babyface run at some point.
I think we're almost there with the shifting of the bloodline storyline.
Absolutely. And when it happens, like does it matter if a guy's a babyface or a heel or not? It actually doesn't. What you need is people to tune in. I'm tuning in to watch the bloodline. I'm tuning in to watch Roman Reigns. Who cares if he's a babyface or a heel? It doesn't matter. Heels draw money too, as long as you want to watch them. So I think they missed a tremendous opportunity. Now, that being said, did it all work out? Yes, it all worked out fine. Cena's a huge star. I will tell you, when he came out at Money in the Bank, I popped big time. And if I was there live, I would have gone nuts. And I'm not a big Cena mark by any means. The guy's just a fucking star. And I kind of knew he was going to show up. I mean, I saw, he's filming in London. So, like, I had it in my mind. It's just like, the other example I'll give you is like when Brock Lesnar shows up. It's not like, he's working a program with Cody, but when his music goes off on Raw, dude, you're like, oh, it's Brock Lesnar. Like, you pop. Yep. So, anyways, I think what the WWE has learned with this Roman Reigns thing is it's good to move back and forth between babyface and heel. Brock Lesnar comes back as a heel, had a fun babyface run. He's a heel again. Like, it's good to mix these guys up because really they're two different characters.
Yep.
Heel Brock with Heyman is different than babyface Brock, who's different than heel Brock without Heyman, right? So you're getting these different versions of the characters, and I think it's fantastic. So I wish they would have done it with Cena. I said it at the time. I'll still say it now. It's too late now. I mean, unless he was going to work a full year program, which I don't think we'll ever see again.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Now, what could be fun is a heel program. And I don't think they'll ever do it, but it would be, could Cena. I mean, it's like when The Rock was working heel. I mean, don't forget that when The Rock came back from Hollywood, like he worked as a heel at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And he probably regrets it because he probably wanted to, it's probably not good for movie sales to be a bad guy and shitting on the fans. But anyways, so matches starting off slow here. Orton. Now, I've never seen this before. So Orton takes out the handcuffs. He also has the keys, and the keys he put around his neck. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, just to kind of have him could come playing into the story a little bit later. Yeah, you did get one attempt here at Orton to get Cena to say, "I quit." Reminder, that this is our I quit match playing into the theme of the overall show. Yeah, handcuffing him at this point. You never see a regular pair of handcuffs on WWE either. It's always these handcuffs that are like a yardstick long or a meter long, like where they can just do all this shit. Yeah. Early too, to get him handcuffed to the ropes here. He's like kind of handcuffed right to the center of the ropes. Yeah. But kind of early to do it too. So interesting. Yeah, I to your point too, I think it is too late to do anything, unless they're going to give him a long run. I know the reports right after Money in the Bank, like it did its job. Like Cena coming out, talking about it, like trying to get it, to have another show in London, like it worked. Like there was literally people people in Parliament coming out, commenting on it of like, yeah, we'd love to host it. And so, boy, that's one of those strategies. Like if that's what they're trying to do, it worked in every sense to try and get him get them to get interested in it, to have a big show. Like you said, it would be a massive show. I know reading up on the more recent, like the numbers on the gate, I saw Money in the Bank set a new record for highest grossing arena event in WWE history, and Friday Night SmackDown from the O2 became the highest grossing SmackDown of all kind. The weekend generated a combined gate of more than $5.4 million. Why wouldn't you do these shows? Like it makes no sense to not have that. And we're only going to see like that set the highest grossing. I feel like 2023, we've set the highest grossing a couple different times now. And so we're going to keep seeing it happen as they do these big shows and have these big things happening in places that like, yeah, that's the thing. Do I feel like, do I want like the flyover state, like middle America to not get shows? Like, no, of course not, because that's where fans are too. And they have that, but also like, they're not going to do like, a pay-per-view in Wyoming, plain and simple. Like they're going to go where they're generating all this money. And I think that speaks to Nick Khan, who quietly has done this and put this together. And, that we're just going to keep seeing that more and more and more in regards to like just bringing in giant dollars. Yeah.
And remember too, that, the PLEs, I mean, the bigger you can make them, the better. So, yep. Can you? I mean, who knows what this company will look like in 5 years? I mean,
oh man,
the business could cool off, right? I mean, it is cyclical. There's ups and downs. There's no guarantee. But let me give you the flip side. Could every PLE be in a stadium in 5 years? I mean, we're already at WrestleMania's in a stadium, SummerSlam's in a stadium. The Saudi shows are typically in like a stadium. London, Australia. I mean, they've done stadium stuff, over there. I mean, could every PLE be in a stadium in 5 years? Possibly. But at the very least be really big, unique events. And the reality is you have 52 weeks of programming, which means you have 104 Raw and SmackDowns a year. That's where I think you can, put them in Indy and Pittsburgh and everything. I mean, you can give all these, markets a great Raw, a great SmackDown, but like for PLEs, I mean, I do think that, I mean, they
Kraken.
don't play the Super Bowl in every NFL market, right? And it's going to be the same thing here, where some markets just aren't going to get PLEs. I personally have no problem with it. If you want to go to one, you travel to it. You say, hey, I'm going to drive to Detroit. I'm going to fly to Miami, whatever it might be, to see one. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Especially as you expand internationally, because you figure if you can do a PL. I mean, you start opening up these international markets for PLEs. I mean, there's only 10 to 12 of them a year, and they're not going to increase that number. I can't imagine, right?
Nope.
So you have those. So then you say, okay, well, in Europe, there's a handful of markets, and maybe we get into Asia, and maybe we get into India, and obviously a number of big US cities, and hey, we could do something in Mexico eventually. I mean, it's amazing how many markets are out there and international. I mean, you look at, and I watch a lot of golf, so I followed what, obviously the Saudi government's done with LIV and now with the PGA. And I mean, essentially where they saw the opportunity, and I believe they're correctly right, is so not every form of entertainment is popular on every corner of the earth. There's not a lot of stuff that's popular everywhere. Golf happens to be something that's popular in China and Japan and the US and in Mexico. I mean, everywhere, right?
Everywhere. Yep.
Okay. Soccer, every corner of the globe.
Yep.
Okay. American football is not. Baseball is not. Hockey is not. What's another form of entertainment that's on every corner of the earth? The WWE. Yep. So what they're doing with Live Golf was we need franchises, and then we need a face for every franchise. So we would love to have Hideki Matsuyama as a captain for a team that's in Japan. Like, do you realize what that could do for the sport and for so they're creating an international league. And I really believe that's what WWE is trying to do. They're trying to make this as international as possible, which means, PLEs, tours, TV deals on every corner of the earth. And I don't believe they've even scratched the surface of this. I mean, how many people are in India? It's over 1 billion, right? Yep. I mean, India's, exponentially bigger than the United States. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to be able to tour there, and it doesn't mean the economics are the same. But whatever they're making in India, could they make 100 times as much 10 years from now? Absolutely. So that's where the growth is. So I think you're going to continue to see these PLEs, and I'm all for it, man. I mean, it's pretty wild to, it's kind of surreal to see London, to see India, to see, all these. I find it really interesting as a fan. I really do. I mean, they're just, they love the product so much. So the atmosphere. So me sitting at home watching a PLE, on a Saturday afternoon that's overseas, and the crowd's just going nuts, and the card is loaded, and they have to load the card because they want to give these people an incredible show. It's pretty special, man. And I think I think that it's only going to get bigger and better, because Nick Khan is completely prepared to grow the company on the world stage. I don't necessarily think Vince McMahon was, or had the people around him to do it nearly to this capability.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. And I think that's part, like, you got to grow. Like, you and I know, like, we work in an industry where if you're not like trying to update and change things, like, you're going to get stagnant. I think that was part of Vince's, like, I think his, as much as, like, respect what he did over the years, like, he just, like, I think there was a loss of touch there. Like, he just, he couldn't quite put his finger on it anymore. And so, which I think just hurt in the long run, kind of, we started seeing the decline there. It wasn't great. And so, we got interesting match here we've had, but it's slow. We had Cena hung up for probably the better part of 7 or 8 minutes. On the ring post, taking kendo shots, like all kinds of stuff, not quitting. But now Cena has handcuffed himself to Randy Orton, and he's like hulking up. crap out of Orton.
Punishing Orton. Oh.
So Orton has 10 4.5-star matches in his career.
Okay.
None above 4.5, but 10 4.5s.
Wow.
Yeah. And then a bunch of 4 4/4 as well. I mean, a ton. Oh, another 18 4.25-star matches. And then another, I mean, he has 50 matches, at least 50 matches that are 4 stars or above, according to Meltzer. So, I mean, just a ton of, I mean, his body of work is pretty significant. Among those, Cena. Nope. Oh. Wow. Still handcuffed to each other. Not the RKO.
Looking for that key. Where's the key? I have no clue. There it is. Where is it? It's in the ring. Orton trying to get the key. He's got to
drag Cena. It's their handcuffs, so he can't get to this key that's there. That's kind of funny.
So the 4.5-star matches, I won't read them all, but Cactus Jack, Randy Orton, which we've covered, was awesome. We've covered the 4-way Edge, Cena, Orton, Shawn, which we were both very, very impressed with. A Money in the Bank match. Here's one that would be fun for us to cover: the Evolution versus Shield match.
I do have that on our list.
Okay, 3-on-3. Yeah, that would be a really fun one to cover. Elimination, a Survivor Series match, Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank. Yeah, but yeah, that would be a really fun one to cover too. Did you? We haven't talked about this. Oh, wow!
Got him to say I quit. Yeah,
got him. That was quick. Now, which one was this? This was probably like his 12th game.
I think
Maybe they'll say.
I have it in my notes. Yeah.
Matches. Man, we've ever been a part of. An epic battle. John Cena is now a 6-time champion.
It was
only six. Oh boy, he's got 10 more to go.
Like John Cena or not, he certainly earned the WWE title tonight. And he also earned the respect of everyone in the WWE Universe.
All right, there you go. Cena's your champion. I thought it was his 12th reign. It was his 6th. So in 2009, he was at 6. Hey, thank you, Triple H, for not shifting the championships as much as you are now. It just makes it so much better. Don't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
All right. Let's get to the aftermath.
Ho! It's time for the aftermath.
All right. So what'd you think, man? They beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, I think it was a from a wrestling match standpoint, I was underimpressed. From just these guys beating the hell out of each other, though, like it was impressive. I think they did a good job of that. I feel like I don't like the handcuff spots. I like the long kind of pin they're hung up, but it makes sense for the circumstances of this. And I thought when they ended up handcuffed together, they did a good job. So I had some things I liked, some things I didn't, but overall, it was better than I thought. It was really just, beating the hell out of each other, plain and simple.
I'm not a huge fan of either's in-ring work, so it's just they've had really good matches. I mean, they had a ladder match that was really good, like a unification. Okay, so he uses the handcuff, gets
the weird AA.
Yeah. Good finish. I'm just not a major fan of either guy or either guy's in-ring work. So Cena's kind of grown on me like over the last few years, just because I think his promos actually in his 40s are actually really, really good now. I actually like him on the mic a lot. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to be a tough critic on both. And I think either guy with the right opponent can really put on great matches. I just don't like these two together. Like KO and Cena, sign me up for that. Styles and Cena, sign me up for that. So that's where I'm at on this one. But what happened after this? I mean, I my timeline's a little off. I don't remember when all they wrestled. I just know that they went back to this match, it feels like 50 times.
Yeah, I don't know if I just don't remember this era well. Like
you don't remember it, neither do I. And so what I've always tried to figure out is do I not remember, and you may be the same way, do I not remember this era because it sucked, or was it because I didn't watch as much? But like, this was a weird era because I mean, I feel like I watched everything in the Attitude Era.
Yep.
I watch everything now because it's easy. Now it's easy to watch Raw and SmackDown quickly because you have them DVR'd on YouTube TV. The pay-per-views are free. I don't miss one of those. I mean, I've watched every pay-per-view in the network era. That's been 10 years. It'll be 10 years in April that the network's been around. So literally from 2013 to 2023, or 2014 to 2024, you've probably watched every pay-per-view. So, but this was 5 years prior to that. So you weren't watching this pay-per-view, neither was I. I didn't pay $50 for Breaking Point. So I think a lot of this gets lost because there were only 119,000 people that bought this pay-per-view. So unless you went back on the network and watched it, which, we are now, but there's just a lot of stuff you didn't see in this era. You also, maybe you had a DVR at this point. I don't know. I mean, I guess I probably did, but it was a little clunkier. So I wasn't going back and watching all the Raw and SmackDowns either. So I think it's a combination of a lot of those things why we don't remember this stuff as well. But I think part of it just wasn't as good.
Yeah. And so this is, and I'll go through some of this. So, and so it was Hell in a Cell in October. At Hell in a Cell, he actually lost the title back to Orton, but then he won it back at Bragging Rights in late October, which again, another pay-per-view that I don't remember at all. And this one too, you think we would remember, this was Cena beat Randy Orton. It was a 60-man Iron Man match. And Cena beat Orton 6-5 in that one. I don't know how I don't remember that. And so that would be title run number 7 is a anything goes Iron Man. And so, and then he retained, it was a triple threat against Triple H and Shawn Michaels at Survivor Series, but then ended up losing it to Sheamus at TLC in December. I don't remember any of this.
And again, we weren't watching it as much as we are now. We weren't on Twitter as much as we are now. So that is part of it. But a lot of it is just, it was forgettable. And I mean, all these title changes just all blur together, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking too. That 60-minute match was 3.5 stars from Meltzer. Just really weird. I don't know. And so, and then after that, it was 2009. There was the tournament to crown the superstar of the year. You had Cena defeating CM Punk in the first round and Orton in the finals to win that honor. So sure. Orton actually had his feud with Kofi Kingston. And so him interfering with some of the Cena matches. And so them getting into it a little back and forth. And then you actually ended up with these guys at the Survivor Series matchup of Kingston's team defeating Randy Orton's team after Orton was eliminated last by Kofi. And so Team Kingston was Christian, Kofi, Mark Henry, MVP, and R-Truth beating Orton's team. Great, just an unusual but fun team here. Punk, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Ted DiBiase, and William Regal. And so, sure. And then that TLC.
Hey, if they never do another Survivor Series match again, will you be disappointed?
No, I won't. Not under some of the way they've been doing it. They need to mix it up.
But hey, give me a men's and a women's war games every year. I'm down for that.
Yeah, mix it up, or every other year, give us something. Bring us back. What is it? Cyber Sunday. Let us start voting again. Like, why we're not doing that in the era that we're in right now? It makes no sense to me, but whatever. So, yeah, who knows? But okay, 2009, Cena 3, Orton 5. Observer actually, the Torch didn't have anything on this one, but the Observer, the latest WWE gimmick themed pay-per-view, Breaking Point, where the top matches were either I Quit or submission bouts, was a success largely based on the Randy Orton John Cena title match. Cena won the title with a handcuff assist choke submission in one of his best career matches. The match was wonderful because it was so simple that the two guys could have put it together backstage in about 30 seconds, then gone out there and told an awesome story just through their work. Orton was just about the most tremendous heel ever and put on a performance where you could argue he's perhaps the best in the world at what he does. They call this an epic battle. Wouldn't go that far, but it was a great battle, and Orton was monumental here. Just a best in the world level performance, and Cena more than held his own. 4.25 stars from David Meltzer. So, Tom, where are you going to throw this one?
7.
Yep. It's right where I am.
Yeah, I mean, good. It was good. I didn't. Yeah, I just, this era to me, even at the time, like, I wasn't like, man, I got to pluck down, $40 to see Cena Orton. I just didn't do anything for me, man. Sorry, but I mean, it was solid match. I mean, it's good, but it's nothing that I think you have to go watch unless you're a big fan of one or both those guys. How about you?
Yeah, I think there was some other matches during this time that we could give a little bit more attention to, but at the same time, it was a really good match. Like, I can't complain at all about it. Like, it was just really good. And so, just one of those things where, it's just good, plain and simple. So, I'll stick with a 7 as well too, because just two of the top performers ever. Like, how can you complain about that? Plain and simple. So, really good stuff. Want to remind everybody, of course, before we send you home, make sure you're using Manscaped, 20% off. That code PAYOFF. Caldera and Lab also 20% off. PAYOFF is your code. Manscaped, you're also getting free shipping, anything you're putting in the cart there. I just had to order some new blades actually for my stuff. I've been using it for so long and it's going so well. I was like, you know what? It's time. And so I got some more blades and got everything polished up a little bit, cleaned up. And so it's all ready to go for the future and me looking fantastic. So, pay off using those codes at both stores. So, next week we're mixing it up a little bit here. I'm excited. We're going back to ECW for a little bit, which it's been a hot minute, and so I'm excited for some luchador action in ECW next week.
Dude, I can't wait. I'm so excited for this.
Tight match, shorter match, but that's okay. Yep.
Dude, this is like, I mean, Mysterio. Are you kidding? This is 1995. It's a
debut. Yeah.
Oh my God. And we're watching his son wrestle. Oh my God.
Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff. Cool.
Yeah, his son's really over too.
Oh boy.
All right,
we'll talk about that.
This was fun. We'll catch you all next week on an all new episode of The Payoff.